Jabali Afrika ni bendi lililoanzishwa hapa Nairobi na washiriki wa zamani wa ukumbi wa mchezo wa kitaifa, yani the Kenya National Theatre. Mandugu wawili Justo na Jose Kasikoe walianzisha bendi hiyo, na baadaye Thembe na Victor Elolo wakajiunga na bendi hiyo. Bendi hiyo ilitambulika kwa kutumia mchanganyiko wa sauti ya Kiafrika. Hii ni hadithi ya Jabali Afrika.
I grew up in Eastlands. We are Jabali Afrika, basically, who are guys who were born in Eastlands.
My names are Justo, Daniel. Some people call me Otongo, Asikoe.
Our childhood, my father was a guitarist. Actually, he's a guitarist. And my father is like, was one of, the guys he used to play with were Akina John Mwale, Akina Mukabi. So all those are the style of music that my father used to play. And those are guys that they were seeing each other in the industry. We started, I started off, we were born in Kariobangi. We were kids that were born in Kariobangi, but my dad happened to own a house in Umoja. So he moved the whole family to Umoja. So, but I remember all my childhood started in Kariobangi, and then we ended up in Umoja, you know. So from Umoja, I attended Unity Primary School, you know. From Unity Primary School, I got into Isili High School. So Isili High School basically is what gave me the grind in terms of like art. Because when I went to Isili High School, I found there was a drama, there was the music festival, there was all these things, the extracurricular activities, you know.
My brother, Joseph, happened to see, I think he saw, what do you call it, an advertisement about an audition. But for me, you know, I was in the arts, but I started playing the guitar when I was 12 years old. My dad taught me how to play the guitar when I was 12. The harmonica is another instrument that I started with. It was my number one instrument when I was 7 years old. So Joseph went out there, but I was like, I was curious, let me go see what these guys are up to. But I was not in the arts like as a profession, because I never did it in high school. You know, I never did music in high school. But I was doing it in church. I was doing it in church because my father was a pastor.
Katika miaka za hapo awali, baba yao hakutaka wajitose kwenye mziki, na hii ilizorotesha uhusiano wao.
So my dad, because my dad came from an era of when Kina George Mukabi, all they used to do the original one-man guitar, they just go play a gig, come home with nothing, they give you free booze. The typical lifestyle of a musician, whereby people just, like the structures here are not yet, at that time, the structures were not set the way they are today, even though today they're still weak, you know? But at least a musician can earn something and go back home with something. But that era, my dad did not want us to be musicians. So, and I could understand when I looked at where he came from, you know?
My father is a generation that was born during the colonial days. And you're having two boys that you spend your money educating, guys who rejected a scholarship to go to the US. You know how many people dream to go to the foreign lands to go for further studies? And they chose to play this stuff. You know, I'm calling it this stuff, but these are very powerful instruments.
You hear him like just lamenting. He'll come into our bedroom and say some stuff like, yeah, kazi yenyu ni kulala hapa na kupiga piga ngoma, all that kind of stuff, you know.
He did not speak with us for weeks. Even in the corridor, you know, there's that common mirror that you guys have, that every family have in the house where you meet and you mnajichanuaga. I met him there one time. He told me, hey, my man, you guys still here in this house? I said, yeah.
But we knew what we were doing. We were not like musicians from that era. But the moment we got these blessings was a time now he started saying like, oh, we're telling him, oh, Dad, tomorrow we are leaving for Sweden. We're flying out for a gig. Say, oh, you're going to Sweden? Okay, go. We go, we come back. You know, another trip comes in. We go to Luxembourg, we come back. You know, So one time there was this last trip, that trip you realize like, oh, and when you come back, you realize like, school fees of my younger siblings is paid, all that stuff. And then you start like, oh, he started respecting the game in the sense that like he did not say it. He became just that African parent whereby one time we were leaving to go to, I think we were going to Sweden. So at that time he came to the airport. Because every time my dad never came to the airport to see us off. We just used to grab a bag, we jump on a bus. That time was number 34, KBS. Boom, with a little bag, off to the airport, we're off to Europe. So this time my dad came, he did not even tell us he's coming, you know? So when he came back, he gave each of us, I think he gave us 10 shillings each, you know? So I tell you, like, it was just a sign like, okay, I respect what you guys are doing, I realize this is what you want to do, and I think you guys are not doing it the way we used to do it, you know? So that was a blessing. I felt like it was, and then when I went also into his Bible, so all these articles, guys used to ask him, these are your kids? Because we were all over the press, all that stuff. I didn't know my dad was collecting the press articles. One time I go through his Bible, I see like he had like all the cuttings of Jabali Afrika when he won the talent search, all that, anything that was happening within the industry that was in the press, my dad had copies of that.
But my dad was smart. He did not chase anybody. Atitokeni hapa mwende. He was just asking, what do you guys want to do? This music is for old people. He did not know the bigger picture. I think he had good intentions, but he did not. This is a generation that never believed in music because music let them down. My father was that generation that recorded even with Polygram, I think. But before they released the music, I think it closed shop.
We are a hip-hop generation, but we loved doing our African stuff, you know? So the upbringing, I'll say, music was always in our house, acoustic guitar was always there, mom sang in church, you know? But we started, the time us guys got together as Jabali, all of us, we were performing with the Kenya National Theatre dance troupe. So within the dance troupe, we formed the musical side. So we'll remain behind after we've done our dances, and we'll remain behind and just start doing our music using the traditional instruments to create music. It's not that we didn't know how to play the other instruments, but we felt like with the drums, we just wanted to be original, and we wanted to create something that was not in the industry. We were very much exposed to a lot of African music when kids were listening to hip-hop. Even though we were trying to be cool and listening to hip-hop, we still paid attention to what was going on within the BENGA, Mutibo style. My brother, older brother, used to bring us a lot of West African high life, you know? We used to get a lot of like music from Ghana, you know? And this was like, we could listen to people like Fela, Manu Dibango. So our ears were open to a lot of sounds from outside, not only within Kenya, but outside Kenya. And then we happened to bump into Osibisa music.
Instrumentation, Osibisa was our biggest influence. Because we were like, man, these guys, they fused percussion with contemporary, with the modern instruments. I said, why can't we be like these guys? Go, Osibisa, they're the only African band. I don't know if today there's going to be a band like Osibisa.
Katika siku za mwanzo ya kazi ya Jabali Afrika, walifukuzwa kutoka kwenye ukumbi wa mchezo wa kitaifa, na hiyo ndio ilikuwa fursa ya Jabali Afrika kuanza kirasmi.
From the Kenya National Theatre, we got fired, you know, because we were playing with so many groups in Nairobi at that time.
The point was jealousy. All these things came up because of jealousy. Because we were, Jabali was performing, don't forget, no, before Jabali, we even had another dance troupe that we used to perform with at the African Heritage. It's right on Kenyatta Avenue. Kenyatta Avenue, where I&M is. I think the standard is there. That blue building used to be our stage. That used to be our stage. And we used to have another band that we used to perform with. So you see, these guys were like jealous because we were making money here and there. We had multiple groups, but we only had our allegiance to Jabali Afrika. So Jabali Afrika, when it came out, they were even making fun of us when they kicked us out. I remember that time it was drizzling. It was around 3:30 p.m. And Ali Sayara, the manager, called us in our office. She did not even sit on her official chair. She sat on her desk and told us, you guys, if you're not interested in settling here, then hit the road. So we say we chose to hit the road. So we were kicked out without anything.
That time Justo was working with Jericho dancers, you know? But coming to the National Theatre, one funny thing, people think that I brought us guys, being brothers, I did not bring him to Jabali. It just happens, Justo auditioned at the Kenya National Theatre separately and auditioned separately, you know? So me, when I came to the National Theatre, they hired me as a musician, you know? But I was a dancer too. In the other groups, like I was in this group, I would be dancing. The other group, I was playing a different instrument. The other group, I was playing a different instrument. Same thing with Justo. So at the National Theatre, Justo basically auditioned by himself. And from there, when we were fired, all of us together, we formed Jabali together, you know? But Justo was was an electrician. So I basically told him, come see what I'm doing. When he saw what I'm doing, he just marinated in. Jabali Afrika started with actually 4 members, you know? So, and that was Justo Tongo Asikoe, Victor Savani Elolo, Evans Jumba Chagala, Robert Owino, you know? So we were actually 5, you know? So Robert Owino, we brought him in, but we were actually 4 guys who were at the Kenya National Theatre then, you know? So after we started, we realized like we needed to get ourselves some structure. So within that structure, what we did, we brought in different guys to come and help us out. So later on, Peter Mutua Mbole joined in, who were brought in. But Peter Mutua, we used to perform with him. We used to do the Winner Car Disco Dance Championship. So I told him, you know what, bro? This is the right way. Let's like leave this dancing alone. Let's jump into the music side. You know, rest in peace to him, because Peter Mutua Mbole unfortunately passed on like 2-3 years ago. And then we added in Stephen Wafula, who was a very good thespian and a very good litungu player, you know. And when I think Wafula came in when we were doing Limenya, one of the first musicals at the Kenya National Theatre, you know, African musicals at the Kenya National Theatre. So, and then after Wafula, there was Bernard Kapima, who came in as a manager, and also we had Njenga. So us guys, we started working with those structures way back, you know. So we had 2 managers that when us guys left and said we were going to Europe and America, we said we carried everybody.